it's because they're putting bets on who's gonna pick the way that they die.
That's right, yeah. They all start picking stuff.
Because they fling the basement open.
I really liked it. Kurt's like, oh, it must have been the wind. And then I'm like, what? Really? Come on. Nothing's blowing the cellar door open.
And then you find out that it's because they're blowing pheromones through the vents of the cabin, making them think irrationally, which is really cool because you always have that stigma in a lot of horror movies where they take the plot device of writing stupid characters, making the worst decisions you could ever imagine. And so it was cool to get an answer to that. Watch these people manipulating and then ripping other people off because they're completely manipulating the situation but placing bets. And they have the new guy that's coming on, and he's kind of like, how can you guys do this?
Oh, the security. He's like a security guard.
He's like, this is, and it's like, almost like he thinks that it's immoral. And he's an interesting addition. Yeah,
because he was kind of like, isn't this all just, aren't you all kind of cheating the system anyways? And they're like, well, no, we just put them in this scenario. They're the ones who have to do stuff. They're the ones who pick it. We just basically lock them in this box. And so anyways, they go down to the cellar. They start picking up all these things, and then one of the, I guess, the fetishes for Steve is kind of, he's always wanted to see a merman, and there's this conch that Kurt picks up, and he's about to blow on it, and I guess that's gonna summon the merman. He's right about to do it, and then Dana's like, oh look, there's this book, and she starts reading from this book. It's kind of like a diary, and it talks about how this family was basically murdered by their family or by their father, and then there's this page where it's like, oh, there's this writing in here. It looks kind of Latin, or it looks Latin. And then she's like, well, and then Kurt's like, well, can you read it? Like, what does it say? And then she's about to start, and then Marty's like, please, for the love of God, don't read it. He's like, he's kind of like the dumbest person, but he's like the voice of reason throughout this whole movie. He's kind of like, don't read this, whatever you do. And she starts reading it, and then he starts hearing like whispers, and he's like, what the fuck's going on?
And he's like, how about I dare you guys to all go upstairs?
Yeah, because before that they were playing Truth or Dare, and then they dare Dana to go down to the cellar first. And then so that's they start reading it. And he's like, okay, everybody, let's I dare everyone to go upstairs. Come on. And they're like, shut up, let's read this.
She reads this like Latin, which I would think is an also calling on Evil Dead.
Oh yeah,
right? Yeah, because it's like the Book of the Dead, and then they raise zombies from outside unknowingly, of course. But the people back in the office they see that they've summoned the zombies, so everybody who placed the bet on the zombies won.
Yeah, they had this huge giant pool. Everyone was putting bets in, and it was awesome. But yeah, so they summoned this the Buckner family, and that's when who is it? Kurt and Jules decide to go out and,
of course,
fool around, in the woods. And so they start. They're walking around, and then Kurt's kind of kissing her and stuff, and she's like, "Oh no, it's so hot. Like I don't want to do anything." And then she says it's so cold, she doesn't want to do anything. And then so Steve and Gary kind of go on their little thermometer thing and turn the thermometer up to like 76. And then she's like, "Oh yeah," and she kind of starts taking clothes off, and then they start releasing these pheromones from the ground that make them, I guess, horny or something. And they're like, she's like, and then she makes another reason, like, it's so dark, we can't see anything, it's scary. And then they light up this one little patch of like a mossy area, and then he's like, look over there. And then so they start making out, and that's when I think Kurt gets stabbed in the back by one of the Buckner zombies. And then Jules gets caught in the back by a bear trap.
Because she runs to help him.
Yeah.
And there's this
big ogre-looking dude.
Yeah, this huge guy, and he has a big bear trap on a chain.
Yeah, he swings around.
He throws at people.
Yeah.
And he throws her and gets her on the back, drags her to him, and then they kind of set up this huge, like, death scene.
Yeah.
With Jules, where, like, the whole family gets on it, and they have this giant saw.
Yeah, it's like for chopping trees down.
Yeah. And they just
and
yeah.
You see blood splatter. And then I think it cuts back to the rest of them at the house or in the cabin.
Well, it shows that her sacrifice is complete.
Oh yeah, and they press the little lever and it breaks.
The blood goes into her like symbol. Mm-hmm. Because she's like the
whore. I think they call her.
Yeah. And what happens? After that, and then like you said, it cuts back, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like we got one down or whatever."
Yeah.
And cuts back to the cabin, and they're hanging out. I think Holden and Dana are making out.
Yeah.
And then they start to like kind of make moves on each other, and then Marty's still alone.
Oh, that's when Marty's in his room and he starts
hearing the voices.
He's like, I ain't no fucking puppet. I'm not gonna dance for you, puppet man. I'm not gonna dance. And then he keeps hearing this thing that says like, I'm gonna go for a walk. Yeah. And it's really quiet. You can't hear it if you're not listening. And then it's like, I'm gonna go for a walk, and he starts freaking out. He's like, what the fuck is that? And then he's like, you can tell that he's starting to cool down and like calm down, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna go for a walk. And then he starts, he leaves, and he goes outside to take a piss, and that's when he runs into Kurt running back from the massacre back in the woods.
Yeah.
And
the zombie is right behind
the
her.
one-armed zombie daughter is right behind Marty, and Kurt takes her out, and he's like, get the fuck back from the cabin.
He just like he
clotheslines her, which was awesome.
Boom.
Yeah.
He's like, get dead, bitch.
He's like, you crazy zombie bitch. And so they go back into the cabin, and Dana's like, we gotta go find Jules. You can't leave her. And then Marty, what's his name? Kurt's like, no, she's dead. She's gone. And then
she's gone.
She opens the door to go outside, and there's the big giant dude with Jules's head, and then he throws it to her, and then they start locking all the doors and start freaking out, and Kurt's first idea is, okay, let's all stick together and go to the rooms, and close all the windows and lock everything up.
Board everything up,
yeah,
which is a pretty solid idea.
Yeah, and then you see the guys down below. They're like, "Oh shit! Like
that's not gonna work.
Like that's not gonna work. Hold on, I got an idea." And he pushes some buttons in his computer, and then this vent hits Kurt with some air or some mist, and he's like, "You know what? We should all split up and go into our rooms."
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, yeah, sure," because he's the alpha, he's the leader, I guess, and so they think he knows what he's talking about. And I think that's pretty cool, because like that's what you're talking about, those chemicals they release to make why would you split up in that type of scenario in the real world? But they have a reason for that, which is the chemicals. And so they all go into their own rooms, and they start locking everything up. And I think that's when Marty finds he breaks a lamp in his room when he's trying to lock up or close the windows, and he sees that there's a camera in his lamp that he just knocked over. He's like, "Oh shit! I'm on a reality TV show," and he starts kind of freaking out a little bit more, and he puts his back against the window, and that's when one of the zombies grabs him and pulls him through the window.
They were gonna do something with a chemical, and they say no, like this zombie's got it. He's gonna take him out himself, you know.
Yeah.
Because he's basically figured everything out right there.
Yeah. He follows the cord basically all throughout the cabin. And that's when he's like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, he's like, oh, we're not alone. And then he gets taken out by the zombie and stabbed in the back and then dragged off to his supposed death.
Yeah.
And then what happens after that?
That's when what is it? Dana goes into what's his name? Dana and Holden, they meet. They go into Holden's room,
that's
and that's when they uncover another cellar door, basically.
And they get, for some reason, they get split up from Kurt.
Yeah, because Kurt's in the living room still, and then they who's it? Steve and Gary lock all the doors, so no, everyone's basically separated.
Split up,
yeah. And they go down into the cellar, and they tell Kurt, "Hey, go down to the cellar. We're going down there. Meet us down there," basically. And that's when they end up meeting Kurt down there.
No, you're missing a big point. So they get attacked by the big guy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He throws the bear trap down from the top. So they're in the cellar,
looking around
in the other type of cellar, and he throws the bear trap down and gets Holden.
Oh yeah, on his back.
Pulls him up.
Yeah.
And he basically gets saved by Dana. She stabs the
through the face.
Yeah, and she says some final girl stuff.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know, like
how do you like being?
You like pain, huh?
Yeah.
Well, here's some for you.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And then he doesn't die.
Yeah.
Of course, because he's a zombie. And then she takes a butcher knife and kind of goes at his chest. And then he doesn't get up.
Yeah.
That time.
Yeah.
And so she saves Holden, and then they go back up, and then that's when Kurt kind of comes out of the shadows.
Oh yeah,
and he's like, "Let's go," or whatever, and that's when they end up
in the RV, right?
Yeah, and they're I think they're trying to make their escape across back.
Yeah, they're driving back to through the tunnel and everything that they came through. And apparently the tunnel is supposed to cave in every time someone goes there, goes to the cabin.
Of course,
it's set up to for demolition, basically. And Steve and Gary are kind of looking at the cameras and they're like, "Oh shit! There's no cave in. There's no cave in. What the hell's going on?" And they're calling basically, I think, tech support or something. Like, "What's going on? Why hasn't this blown?" And they're like, "Oh, there's something wrong with there's a glitch in the system." And then so they go down there and they're almost through the cave, and then it collapses. And so Gary, I think, ends up getting basically hot wiring the cave to blow. And then so they back out and they're kind of like, "Oh, goddamn, we're right there." You're like, we're 20, or 20 yards away from.
There's a huge gap.
Yeah. So they basically, Kurt's idea was, well, I can jump it with my dirt bike, because they had a dirt bike attached to the back of their RV. And he's like, I've done bigger jumps than this, is what he says. And then, so he's like, all right, I just gotta do this. He's like, don't worry, I'm gonna get across. If I wipe out, I'm gonna limp to fucking safety, and I'm gonna bring the cops, helicopters, a bunch of fucking guns. And he's like, I'm gonna blow this place to hell. And so it's this huge heroic moment. You're like, oh man, he's gonna end up going to go save them, and he's gonna come back later on, right before they're gonna die. And he hits the jump, and he's going through the air, and then whack right into that force field that's in between the
invisible, to keep people from leaving.
And it's funny because they do have this kind of uplifting music playing as he's going through the air, and then it's just he hits the wall,
and you just see him kind of scaling,
all the way down to
body.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a scene!
Yeah, for him to go out like that too.
I remember hearing a bunch of laughs, just laughs.
Yeah.
This is a crowd pleaser right there.
Yeah. It's like hate for Chris Hemsworth, man.
Because you don't expect, that guy.
Because he's like, oh, it's Thor. You know, he's a big time